Hey guys, how's it going? Nick here and welcome back to another episode. Today I'm doing sort of a short-term review on the Nikon Z6, which is a camera that I've had for about 2 months now, and I kind of want to go through my impressions now after using it for 2 months. So welcome back to the channel. Like I said, the Z6 is a camera I have been using now for about 2 months. If you're not quite sure why I switched, I'll leave the video linked up above. I go through the reasons why I did switch from the Sony A7 III, which was received with a bit of criticism because the Sony A7 III is widely considered to be one of the best cameras on the market right now for hybrid shooters. But I did switch. So what has it been like using the Nikon Z6 for 2 months? I'll save you time. It has been really incredible, and it's been a long time, very long time since I've used a camera that has just made me want to go out and shoot as much as this camera does. So specs wise, the Nikon Z6 has a 24 megapixel sensor. It can shoot 4K at up to 30 frames a second, 1080p at up to 120 frames a second, has built-in time-lapse functionality. Also, soon with a new update, is gonna have the ability to output ProRes RAW to an external recorder such as the Atomos Ninja 5, definitely something on the wish list in terms of purchasing. So it is spec'd to the rafters, and in terms of quality, it is better out of the gate than the Sony A7 III. It is also fully weather sealed, and that is definitely something I was worried about with the A7 III. Although it was considered to be weather resistant, it was always a bit up in the air and in terms of how weather resistant it was. I've taken this out in snowstorms, rain, well, not a whole lot of rain, but it's been wet a few times, and I feel very comfortable in terms of shooting and all that. And one of the reasons that makes me confident that it's going to be okay is the flaps that cover the ports. So on the Sony A7 III, you might be familiar that it has these flimsy little plastic gates that, oh, they're just awful. With the Nikon Z6, you just have these 2 rubber flaps, and they have built-in rubber gaskets that cover the ports properly. The only downside to that is shutting them can be a little bit of a pain because you got to properly press them in there, but they feel nice and robust and protect the camera. Now, in terms of the battery, we have the same battery that you find in all Nikon cameras. It's the EN-EL15, but this is the 15B, and what that means is that this can be charged via USB-C, but you can put whatever Nikon batteries you want in here. It's still gonna work, but if you do want to charge over USB-C, you do need these newer 15B batteries. So that's what I've invested in, which is great because now I can hook this up to a portable charger via the USB-C port on the side, and I can charge it on the go. Battery life I've found to be excellent in terms of the way I shoot and going out, taking photos, filming YouTube videos such as this. I find that it has the exact same battery life as the A7 III. I don't find myself charging the batteries any more frequently than I did before. On the back of the camera, you do have the LCD. It is not a flippy screen. It is just the normal 3-axis tilt, similar to the A7 III, so it doesn't really bother me. And over the past year, I've gotten used to filming myself without being able to see, so it doesn't bother me too much. But the benefit here is that this is actually a touch screen display, and it is a game changer. I wish the Sonys had a touch screen. Not only can you touch to focus on the Z6, but you can touch to go through the menus and select things, and it's just an absolute breeze to be able to do that. All the buttons on the Z6 feel suitably clicky. You have the little nipple joystick thing to be able to select your focus points. It doesn't have a scroll wheel, it just has a normal D-pad. That's kind of a bummer. On the top left of the camera, you have your mode dial, and quite often I just find myself using my user setting 1 and 2 to shoot in. They're both set up to be full manual for photo on both 1 and 2. And then U1 is set up to be 4K 24 frames a second for video, and U2 is set up to be 120 frames a second, 1080. So I've got my slow-mo dial. And one of the awesome things is that on the camera, you do have your little mode dial switch there to switch between photo and video. Now, the grip on the Z6 is fantastic. I absolutely love it, and it is perfect for my hand. There are some people that go out there and say, you know, they would prefer it to be a little bit deeper or longer, but I find that my pinky fits just right on there. I can hit the trigger buttons, record buttons very, very well. In terms of customizing the buttons, you can pretty much set up everything the way you want to. You have a custom menu button here, which is great to be able to change settings without having to go into the actual settings menu. You also have some 2 custom buttons here. I was worried about when I got these that I wouldn't be able to use them, but they're actually really well positioned that I can hit them with my fingers like so. Now, one of the things I was concerned about getting this camera was the fact that it does use XQD cards, and it's actually not in the camera, that it uses XQD cards instead of SD cards. But in terms of cost, these are pretty much the same price as, you know, fast SD cards, which is what you need these days anyway if you want to record high bitrate 4K. So cost-wise, it's very similar. I did have to go out and buy an adapter for this to be able to plug into the computer, so that was, you know, an added cost that you do have to think about. But this medium, I actually prefer. Like, it is rugged, it doesn't feel like it's gonna break, it transfers faster. So I haven't missed a single thing going from the A7 III coming to Nikon Z6. I've loved shooting with it. The colors are great in video, and just out of camera colors seem to be really, really fantastic in photo. I haven't done some really scientific tests, but I find that the quality is great. Low light is great. I find the autofocus to be very, very good for what I use it for. Everyone's going on about it not being as good as this or that. At the end of the day, can you get the shot? I find yes, I can. It doesn't shoot as fast as the A7 III in terms of frames per second, but again, I'm not a sports shooter, so I don't find that to be a big problem. So all in all, having the Z6, I am so glad that I've swapped. Not only do I enjoy using it more as a camera, but it inspires me to go out and create more often, and I just really enjoy the quality that I'm getting from it. So if you are on the bench about thinking about getting the Z6, I'd say it's a no-brainer for hybrid shooters because you get great video, soon raw video, which is gonna be fantastic, and the photo features are fantastic as well. And I think Nikon has become a really big contender in the hybrid shooter world. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that thumbs up button down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments on the Nikon Z6, whether you have one or you're thinking of switching. Hit me up in the comment section below, and follow me over on Instagram if you want to see photos from this camera, because pretty much everything I'm uploading now has come from this camera. Anyway, guys, until next video, see ya.